There's a lot of controversy revolving the first checker flag of 2023. Welcome back to the episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop, the first one of the year. As you can tell, I'm in a different place. I'm in LA. Just came back from the race. It is it's 10:50, but my body still feels like it's nearly 4 a.m. due to the 3-hour time difference. But we have a lot of stuff to go over from this race because, wow, a lot happened. First of all, I was at the race, so I heard that a lot of stuff about the broadcast, about what was going on, wasn't the best. Being at the race, I can tell you that the atmosphere was electric, especially at nighttime. This should be a standard for future Clash races. Every race should always be held under the lights. The crowd was electric. The halftime performance with Wiz Khalifa was electric, especially near the end. I know at the beginning it was still a bit meh. The crowd was a bit meh. But by the end of it, a lot of the crowd was really getting into it. Even Dixie D'Amelio, who wasn't so awful, she still sucked, but wasn't that bad, I guess. It was tolerable. But overall, it was an incredible performance. Now, let's talk about the racing. You can break it down into two different parts. Pre-Wiz and post-Wiz. Pre-Wiz was very entertaining, pretty clean. You know, you had Toyota drivers like Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, and those drivers, Kyle Busch up front. You know, Bubba Wallace was really the first big leader of the race, led a good chunk of the first half. And then it seemed as though that after Wiz Khalifa went on stage, everybody just took their brains and threw it out the window and just said, you know what, screw it. Either I make the corner or the next 5 drivers are going to get killed. Because that was a motto for every single lap turned in the second half. There was a point in time where we went nearly 40 minutes, 5 laps, green flag laps. Now remember, caution laps don't count. So the race went, I believe, half an hour to an hour longer than it was originally scheduled. You can tell the crowd. I was looking at the crowd. You can tell every single time a caution would come out, they would just get more and more and more infuriated with everything. And rightfully so. I mean, these are professional race car drivers that can't run a lap without running into each other. I can't tell you the exact amount of cautions there was, but I'm pretty sure there was at least more than 13. And constant spinning. Blaney got spun. Harvick got spun. Busch got spun. Allmendinger got spun. I mean, almost everybody and their mother got spun. Even late in the race, Bubba Wallace, who was running second or third place, him and Dylan had a bit of a scrap for a good portion late in the race. Dylan decided to finally end it, takes out Bubba in second place, sends him into the wall. Bubba ends up finishing near the back. But it was really the RCR drivers that, even though Kyle Busch, even with his early struggles, was able to rally back and be a force to be reckoned with against the Toyota drivers like Martin Truex Jr., who took over as the next Toyota driver up front after Bubba's crash, or should say around the time Bubba started to fade. Truex stepped up. Another driver that stepped up was Ryan Preece, took over for Cole Custer. A lot of people wondering, did Stewart-Haas make the right move, replacing Custer with Preece? Even though it is a hybrid track, I think Stewart made the right decision by having Preece drive the car. Unlike Custer, I think Preece has much more talent than Custer, and I think he proved that by just jumping in a Cup car with very little experience, hadn't touched the next-gen car, and was a real contender of winning this race. There will be a lot of questions surrounding the future of the race. Obviously, there is the possibility that with Fontana being reconfigured to a short track, that it won't be on the schedule for 2024. This will obviously bring up, could NASCAR host the Coliseum a points race? First of all, no. Hell no. The Coliseum should only be used for an exhibition race like this. You cannot have 40 cars inside this racetrack. It's impossible. And even then, even if you have 27 some odd cars, you know, you do the heat races and then, you know, they get points, but they don't get any more than what they would have gotten in the main event. You could do something like that still. What we saw today was really embarrassing, especially in that second half. You cannot have that as a points paying race. Or if you want to, you're going to have to clean up your act and enforce some type of rule to make sure that drivers actually use their brains a little bit before they just go off the rails. I want to talk about some of the things I saw on social media, things about issues with the crowd size and things like that. And I want to deconstruct that into a few points. First of all, number one, the crowd was overreacting on social media. I was there. I witnessed it. Yes, it was smaller than last year's, but it still wasn't that big of a difference. I mean, yes, there were a bit more patches on the back straightaway, but it was still pretty packed. There was still a lot of fans in attendance. I saw on social media that there were people saying that like, oh, it is completely empty. You know, NASCAR, clearly the project has failed. I don't think it's failed. Yes, are there some things I would have liked to see change? Absolutely. I think, again, we talked about the halftime performance. Would have liked to see that been done in a way that can engage more of the crowd. Again, it was still in that same stage set where if you're sitting in turns 3 and 4, you basically have no way to really interact. I was around on the exit of turn 4, and I was, looking at the crowd near me, and they were into it, but still they were so far away, they didn't really have a reason to get hyped about it. So yeah, attendance, even though it was down, I thought it was still pretty good. The music was good, but again, needs to be fixed as a way to integrate more of the crowd around the Coliseum. But I don't really have much complaints about the experience. Again, the racing is a completely different story. That is mainly more on the drivers. The mufflers, they were not an issue at all. Again, I've never experienced a race at the Coliseum without mufflers. I wasn't there last year, but I really didn't see no difference. The cars, they still sounded really good. They were still really loud. There was really no reason to complain about it. I mean, no one, from what I've heard, had an issue with it. The real only issue was, from my takeaway, the real only issue was that second half and the sloppiness of the amount of crashes. But other than that, I thought it was a very, very entertaining race. What do y'all think? What are your thoughts on the Clash? How was it from TV? I can tell at the racetrack it was very fun, but what was it like on TV? Did you like it? Did you not? Next question is would you like to see the Clash return to the Coliseum, or would you see it go somewhere else? Let's say, I don't know, maybe Lambeau Field or some type of other football field, maybe even a baseball field. NASCAR has raced at baseball stadiums before. Where would you like to see the Clash go in 2024? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. Congratulations to Martin Truex Jr., your winner of the Busch Light Clash at the Coliseum.